Hello and welcome to another one of the Subathon stretch goals, where we're going through a Castlevania character tier list. Why a character tier list? Why not a character tier list? That's a better question. Why? What? Do you have something against character tier lists?
No, I've personally done character tier lists for many different things. You criticizing my choices, most of all, no.
I mean, to be fair, you deserved all of them.
Oh, if only you were there for the FGO ones. Oh boy.
Ah! Alright, so
I can only imagine.
We're gonna start off, with Leon. Leon! Actually, I need to clarify. How am I going to rank this tier list? By, like, how much I like the character, or how effective they are at their job?
I mean... That is a very good question. I think it should be through just your own personal preference and your own criteria.
From my own criteria of how much I like them as a character in their story overall. Okay. I'll also factor in their abilities. Fair?
Fair. Now, so Leon only has one game, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, he only has one game. However, his entire story sets up the lore and abilities of the franchise as a whole. By creating the Vampire Killer Whip, and also the origins of Dracula. Now, he didn't fight Dracula himself. He did end up defeating Death, though. So I would say probably still an A, because the creation of that whip took a lot of effort. Not S tier, but he's definitely well up there and definitely earns his name as the originator of the Belmont clan for hunting the night.
I also think that he's just a Belmont that people really just should pay attention to a little bit more often.
Yeah, like the fact that when in the anime, when they showed the Belmont hold and they had the painting of him, I was very, very ecstatic for that.
I'm like, yay! They acknowledge Leon. Let's go.
All right.
Now let's get a 6-episode origin OVA.
You know, I wouldn't mind that at all.
Neither would I.
God, this track doesn't loop very well. Oh god, that's gross. I'm just gonna do this. We'll play this one instead. Okay. Lord Dracula. As a character, normally I would say S tier, especially based off of the anime. But aside from Symphony, he's not that character-driven. He doesn't have a lot of personality in the games.
I mean, the wicked ones.
So I'd probably put him at a B. I hate to do this to him, but he really is a one-note character in the games for the most part.
I'm sorry, Daddy Vlad.
And Matthias, you show up in an intro scroll, and in the last 5 minutes of Lament of Innocence, you're in D tier. I'm sorry. You're like, I have secretly been doing this, and it's like, if I didn't remember the text scroll to begin the game, who the fuck are you?
I see Dracula's and B for beta tier. Excellent work.
Welcome back.
I actually have to run to the store. I just had to make the observation. You guys have fun.
Alright.
Chat, spoil Nell. Give her more things. Bye-bye.
Ronaldo Gandolfi. He did show up in Leon's game, and he has a lot of background lore, and he did help create the whip. But he's still just a shop owner with some story. But I would definitely say he definitely has some good personality traits as well. But given the fact that he's only in one game, I do have to put him in B tier. Walter? By the way, you're free to judge me on any of my choices.
I'll judge him on choices that I am more familiar with when some of the characters. I'm not as well versed in the Castlevania verse as you are, so.
Alright, Walter. Walter, you definitely have more presence than Matthias. But you still kind of dicked around and diddly dude for most of the game, so I'll put you in C tier. Sarah, you are a plot MacGuffin. D tier.
As are a plot MacGuffin, as is most female characters in the Castlevania series.
Don't get me wrong, her plot MacGuffinness is actually really good because she becomes the vampire killer, but she's still a plot MacGuffin.
So basically, our vampire killer is named Sarah.
Yes, it's her soul that's in the whip.
We named the whip Sarah.
Why wasn't Kid Dracula in the Smash Your Best? Because I didn't want to include him.
And you know why.
Alright, so Joachim. Joachim...
Exactly, Violet. Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Joachim's literally just a boss fight. D tier.
She called the FBI on herself.
Alright, Death? Death definitely has more personality than Dracula, honestly. So I wouldn't say he's in A tier, but he's definitely leading the B tier, for sure. Actually, we should put Ronaldo on the other side there.
Only humans are able to bring souls from hell. You have any idea how weirdly fucked up that is?
Alright. So since I'm not counting the anime, I can only count the games. Trevor would normally probably be a B tier as a protagonist from the classic games. But he's a side character in Curse of Darkness and a optional character in Grimoire of Souls. So I'm putting him in A for putting in the work.
I personally think... Hold on. I personally think that Trevor deserves lower primarily because he said that beer is better than sex right in front of his lover's face.
That was the anime. That doesn't count for here.
I know, but I'm creating my own sassy comments.
You know, fair. Sypha. I can't count the anime, and so the rest of her appearances is not that useful. I mean, she was good in her game, but she makes almost no other cameos afterwards. She pops up a bit in Grimoire of Souls, but again, Grimoire of Souls is mostly a gacha game. Still, I would probably put her above Ronaldo. Simply because just because she's not that big, her family name and the ties that she has with the Belmont clan and the Belnades clan is really important.
Because without her specifically, you wouldn't get specific Belmonts like Just or Richter that are proficient in different magics able to do what they do.
As well as some others.
As well as others. It all stemmed from Sypha, basically, so.
Alright. Grant? D.
They were right to cut. They were right to cut him from the anime.
They didn't do anything with him, and that's the problem.
I know.
I feel so bad for Grant. I want to rank him higher, but he has nothing.
Grant is to Castlevania what the character of Finn is to Star Wars.
Yeah,
potential.
Kind of.
But untapped potential.
Like, the potential was there, but it was ignored.
It's like you turned him back into human from being a demon. How could you mess it up? Well, to be fair, it was 80s and 90s game design, so storytelling wasn't there yet.
All right, my boy Alucard.
Yes.
He's got a ton of character development and a ton of abilities, and really good character design and development overall. So I am gonna put him in S.
He deserves nothing less than S.
I can kind of agree to that.
I mean,
Hector.
when people think for many people when they think Castlevania, it's not just the Belmonts or Dracula. A large amount of people think of Alucard.
Yeah, that's true. It's very true.
And to be fair, I do blame Symphony of the Night for that. So there's that.
I'm gonna have to say Hector is B tier, but above Dracula. His story is not the best, but the same token, I'm not a fan of him. Like he does a decent overall game, but the problem is Hector doesn't really bring too much to the table story-wise. It introduced the concept of the Devil Forge Masters that the games did nothing with afterwards.
What was even his story in the games?
He was a general under Lord Dracula who turned against Dracula and left, and then found someone, fell in love, and then that person was killed, and so he went out to seek vengeance, and it turns out the person who killed him was the other Devil Forge Master, and so he had to reacquire his abilities and try to stop the other guy.
Yeah, because I remember it was the same general thing, but the aftermath of which were completely different. So,
alright, I'm turning off Power Hour, so bear with me for a moment.
We can always bear with you now. I'm sorry, that was dumb. Yeah, you almost did place. Well done. Well done.
Alright. So Power Hour is off. We'll give it like 2 or 3 hours, and when I order pizza, because you guys did unlock that, we'll open up a Power Hour around then. But for now, we're gonna continue here. Isaac! If this was the anime, I would be ranking you severely higher. It is not, so you are going to be slightly above Joachim. No, actually, you know what? I'm going to put you in C tier.
Yeah, because if this was anime Isaac, I would honestly put him up there with Alucard.
Oh, for sure. But game Isaac, no. You bring nothing to the table.
I don't remember game Isaac.
This is the girl that Hector falls in love with afterwards during the course of the game. And because I don't remember her name, she's going in D tier. That's how much of an impact she had on me.
I shall name her Twee Twee.
The evil priest. I don't remember his name, but I do remember his true name, so I'll put him in as C.
He ain't Shaft. 1 out of 10.
Spoiler alert, that's actually death.
Instant S tier. No, I'm kidding.
Saint Germain. You are a plot device, you're going here.
Thoughts on Saint Germain from the anime?
right, Christopher Belmont.
Absolutely ignored my question.
The one from the anime. No, I'm not a huge fan, but at least he has some story.
True.
Christopher Belmont. You know, I need another tier in here.
Below or higher?
Add a row above. We'll make it purple.
What are we naming the tier?
Hold on. Okay, so we're gonna do this.
Oof. That's rough, Frivolous.
There. And we're gonna shuffle some people around. There. That's a little bit better. Actually, I'm gonna move you down to here. Actually, you're gonna go on this side. Christopher, I'm gonna put you at the top of the new B tier. Because while you weren't exactly amazing, you had not just one, but 2 games, which the second game actually introduced story in the game. And you had an entire comic book. 5 issues. In English by IDW Publishing.
It is kind of remarkable just how much love Christopher has had compared to some of the other Belmonts.
Plus, his first game got an entire overhaul remake called Castlevania: The Adventure Rebirth.
Not to mention, didn't his games introduce the concept of like a written-in story, like with like dialogue and everything?
Mm-hmm. The second game in his story, Belmont's Revenge, actually has the first Castlevania written dialogue in game.
Mm-hmm.
Where his son Soleil and him actually were talking.
Soleil! Ow.
Alright. Next up, I think this is... Don't think this is Simon, is it? It looks like Simon.
Is it Soleil?
I think this is Christopher, and the other is supposed to be Soleil. In which case, I'm going to put Soleil down here. I'm sorry, Simon, you are going up in S tier. Or double S. Because, holy shit, man. Simon put in the work, and then some. Not only did he solo Dracula, which even Trevor couldn't do. Because, you know, he had to walk up and fight the man himself.
Mm-hmm.
But,
he's the only Belmont to do that, I think.
No, others have afterwards. But he was the first one to go up against Dracula solo. He also was so strong and adept that he was still able to use the vampire killer at full strength even while suffering from Dracula's curse. Resurrected Dracula and killed him a second time by himself while cursed.
You see, Richter, that's how you're supposed to do it.
Not to mention, Simon has appeared in so much media.
I mean, there's a reason why so many people were cheering for him when he got invited into Smash Brothers. There was a reason why there was, like... Yeah, same.
I may not have Ultimate, but I cheered. I cheered so loud.
And then you cheered louder when Richter was also added.
When Richter was at it,
And he said the thing, "You don't belong in this world, monster."
Alright. Juiced. You didn't fight Dracula yourself, so that puts you a little bit lower.
But he's
still pretty powerful.
Isn't he technically the strongest magic user of the Belmonts?
For pure magic, yes.
Yeah, so I would say at least an A. I would say an A.
Yeah, I'm putting him at the top of the A tier right now. Maxim! You caused so many problems for Juiced. So many problems for Juiced. It's not even funny.
Maxim, you fucked up.
We're gonna put you in the middle of B tier. Above Hector. Because while Hector was the protagonist, Maxim as an antagonist, you actually had some interesting story stuff going on. As for the girl that the two of you are fighting over, she goes in the MacGuffin tier.
Soon, we shall have a female character not be a MacGuffin that is not named Sypha.
Alright. I don't recall who this person is, so into the D tier.
Into the abyss.
Sonia Belmont! One of my personal favorites, but unfortunately, her story is no longer canon, and so therefore she does not exist.
And honestly, it's a little bit tragic, because honestly, seeing the potential of one of the Belmont clan making a union with Alucard?
I don't mind the idea, but at the same token, I like the idea of the Belmonts being human.
True.
Because otherwise it gives it the whole, oh look, they have to be supernatural to actually defeat Dracula. No.
I mean, it could possibly be a situation where Alucard, like, reciprocates the feelings, but they don't consummate.
Yeah, but her game basically says that she has Trevor.
Oh yeah, that's right, I forgot about that.
So, I'm gonna put her at the top of C. I want to put her higher, but because her game is not canon and it destroys a lot of that, I had to put her a bit lower.
I mean, when the creator of the entire franchise basically doesn't want to mention her again, you know, something was lost along the way.
Alright. The legendary man himself, Richter.
The boy, the man, the myth, the legend. The one with enough thought.
Richter goes into double S tier. Why double S? Well, he actually has probably the most impact on the Castlevania story as a whole. Whereas Leon created the whip and Trevor defeated Dracula, Richter defeated Dracula but also realized that the Belmont clan can't keep doing what they were doing the way they were doing it. So he's the one who actually broke the cycle, essentially, which gave the world and humanity the chance it needed to finally find a way to break free from Dracula and the Dark Lord. So because of that, I do have to put him in double S. He's also fucking strong.
I mean, have you seen how far he can travel with just one slide kick? Them thighs be thick.
Maria Renard. She goes above Simon.
Really? In double S?
Double S above Simon. She is only playable in English in one game, technically. But the other games and stuff like that, having played her in Rondo of Blood, having played the Saturn version of Symphony of the Night, She's an amazing character. A lot of story and lore is tied around her, so she's always been one of my favorites.
I love the fact that you put
there's both Marias on here. There's both Marias on here. In that case, young Maria, you are in the top of A tier. Adult Maria, you are going in double S tier.
Put her right next to her mans. She's right there, right next to her mans.
Dark Priest stroking his shaft. You are going in B tier below Walter.
Yeah, that makes sense. Speaking of which, I know we were theorizing about this during the Nocturne watch through, but you think we'll get him at all during the series?
Maybe. We'll have to see. It's the problem is though, how would he work into that? All right, Evil Richter, and Richter's theme starts playing. Nice.
Beautiful.
We're gonna put you just above Sypha because you actually have an important role. Because without that darkness, you don't realize that the Belmont clan, actually being human, has its own desires beyond just, saving humanity. And so as a result of that, that's why you were able to become the dark person. Lisa, you are literally a MacGuffin. Down to the MacGuffin tier. You know what? We're at a row below. We're gonna call up MacGuffin tier.
Again.
Down into the MacGuffin tier you go. All of these girls, unfortunately, are in the MacGuffin tier. You know what? Hell, I'll even throw Soleil down the MacGuffin tier.
He kind of fills that role for Christopher.
Yeah. So the librarian, you are D. You just sit in the library. Emotionless Shinoa. Emotionless Shinoa, let's say probably a B tier.
For they have emotional damage.
And a fully restored Shinoa would be in S tier at the top.
For they are not suffering emotional damage.
Not quite double S tier. Although she is incredibly powerful and nearly defeated Dracula herself, like, permanently. As a result of that, Albus, 90% of these problems could have been resolved if you had actually opened your fucking mouth and talked to Shinoa, so you go into B tier.
Boy has problems.
Just above Maxim.
There's something not right about that boy.
Barlow, you have slightly more presence than Isaac during the course of your story. There you go. Alright, Nathan! I wish your story was canon, man. I really do. So, I have to put you in A tier, but I can't put you any higher because you're not. Reinhard Schneider. It has been a very, very long time since I played Castlevania 64. I do not recall much of the story, so I'm gonna put you at the bottom of B tier, because you're not quite low enough for C tier, because I still know you and I still remember you. I just don't remember much of the story. Same with Carrie, same with Henry. So, I'm gonna put it like that. Cornell, though, I do remember him being pretty awesome, so you're going in A tier. This is going on longer than I expected. We're gonna put on some more Castlevania music here in the background. Okay, so we're on to Bloodlines now. John Morris. Yeah, I'll put you in high B tier. Same, right next to young Eric Licard. Both of you be in high B tier. Because their games are pretty fun, and they actually have some good story. Because it shows that they're able to fight Nightkin. Elizabeth Battery. Oh, you're a pain in the ass to fight. And aside from resurrecting Dracula, I don't remember what else your story involves, so you are going slightly here in B tier. You're lower than Hector, who actually has story, but not low enough to be not existent.
I just came back from the bathroom. What did I miss? Where are we at?
I just put Elizabeth in mid to low B tier.
She deserves lower.
No, because she still is present throughout her game.
I'll believe you.
Alright. These next ones might be a little bit more controversial.
Uh-oh. Chat room, please. Temper your pitchforks.
In double S and Charlotte at the top of double S.
Where are we right now?
Portrait of Ruin. The reason for both of these picks, okay? Jonathan is the greatest weapons master to hold the Vampire Killer Whip. Not only can he use the Vampire Killer Whip's full potential, because he defeated the Spirit of Richter within the whip, but he's also adept at using every other weapon available. And it is heavily implied that he's the one who trained Julius. Now, the reason Charlotte is at the top of double S, in addition to supporting Jonathan and everything, Charlotte discovered something. And it is a spell you can get in the game which allows you to get the best ending. Charlotte found a way to cure vampirism. She found a magical spell that was able to basically turn anyone who is a vampire back into a human. So, in my headcanon, because both Jonathan and Charlotte would still be alive at the War of 1999, and somehow it said that somehow Dracula's soul and his connection to the powers of the Lord of Darkness and Chaos was severed, and quote, and then the whip was used to seal the power away, implies to me that Charlotte turned Dracula back to human.
The Aria Sorrow timeline stuff.
So if Charlotte turned Dracula back to human, and then Julius was able to seal the Lord of the Lord of Darkness and Chaos power away, then they were able to defeat Dracula because his body probably would have crumbled at that point because of how old he would be, right? Which would mean his soul would reincarnate. So that's why I'm putting Charlotte at the top of double S.
Makes sense.
A lot of people probably will not agree with these picks. And that's fine. But because of that, That's my reason for putting Charlotte up as high as I do. Wind.
Truth.
Wind, are also known as Old Man Eric Licard. You are pretty hot, but you are also pretty cool. So I will put you slightly above Sypha.
Oop.
Vincent, you are a shopkeep. You're going down with the shopkeep. You sell slightly better items than the library person, so up there. And I think that other guy's a shop guy, so we're going to do this.
All shop guys deserve our pity.
Alright. I'm going to skip over the next two for a second. We're going to put Bronner. Bronner, I would say as a villain, he's not terrible. Slightly better than Elizabeth Battery, but not enough to go into the next tier up. And it certainly does not carry the same presence as Shaft, who was in 2 games.
He just looks generic.
Now, Loretta and Stella. Loretta and Stella, I have to give them the same slot, because they're twins and their stories are completely and totally intertwined. That being said, I am putting them at the bottom of B tier, because while they may be MacGuffins, they're also boss characters and actually have lore tied to them besides that. Because they're Licards, they're tied to the Belmont family. And as a result, they're able to help Jonathan connect to the whip and fight the spirit of Richter. So that's why they're not in the straight-up MacGuffin tier. Because they actually do something.
Hey, useful MacGuffin characters.
Speaking of MacGuffin characters, Mina, into the MacGuffin tier you go.
Well, that was short-lived.
I mean, literally, she gives you a charm and then stands at the entrance of the castle.
Yeah, makes sense.
Soma. Soma, I'm gonna put you above Simon. You have a lot of character development, a lot of growth, and your games are pretty fun.
I know this one is a little bit iffy for a lot of people.
Uh-huh.
I can't really have an opinion on it because I haven't played REF, so.
Fair enough. Genya Aricardo. While your counterpart may be really high up, you don't do much. Into C tier you go above Isaac and Barlow.
He's basically just the human facade for Alucard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it ain't doing it for me, Chief.
Interestingly enough, in Dawn of Sorrow, when you unlock Julius mode, you get to control Julius, Yoko, and instead of Genya Aricardo, you actually just straight up control Symphony the Night version of Alucard.
See, everybody prefers Symphony Alucard.
Right?
Even Alucard prefers Symphony Alucard.
Speaking of Yoko, normally she'd be kind of like a MacGuffin character, but she also runs a shop. But she also has story. And she's also playable. So I'm going to put her at the bottom of A tier.
In other words, smashing.
Hammer, however, is a shopkeep. So down to the shopkeep tier you go.
all of that about shopkeeps. And then shopkeep, instant eat.
You sell better stuff than that, so we're gonna put you there. Julius. Playable in 2 extra modes. He is not the main character of either of the games he's in, but there's an entire mode named after him. He's also, lore-wise, the one who permanently put an end to Dracula. I need to put you above Jonathan. Actually, no, I have to put you above Maria. You're not quite Alucard level, because Alucard's got a lot more character development and story, but you do have more character development and story than Maria.
Okay, then.
Alright, Graham Jones. You're gonna go above... No. Just below... So yeah, right there. You're gonna go below Ronaldo, but above Walter. Graham is an antagonist, but he's not like an antagonist until the very end.
Minor antagonist is antagonizing.
Dimitri! Fuck, I hate you. You arrogant son of a bitch.
Just the name Dimitri just gives off the air of someone
But he still has some decent character. I'm gonna put you below Walter.
He just seems like the kind of posh person that would just complain about the slightest inconvenience.
Loretta, I need to put you... You actually come up with a bunch of these plants, so you're gonna go here above them. Dario. You're going down here. I'm mad and I get angry and I have mad angry powers.
So does the Hulk.
Carmilla! God. The anime made you decent. You don't have a lot of role in the games, but the fact that you're using the Judgment picture, double S tier for her size of her chest, no. Her size of her chest is the only thing that's carrying her. Top of the C tier.
I should bonk you just for that.
Boy, she has like double F cups.
I'm still possibly gonna bonk you for that.
Ion! Into the MacGuffin tier. Top of the MacGuffin tier, because you're still a MacGuffin. But you're a playable MacGuffin. Gabriel. I'm only gonna count the first game because I didn't play the Lords of Shadow 2 at all. I'm gonna put you middle of B tier.
Your characters, my goodness.
I don't remember you at all from... I know she's from Grimoire. I don't remember her at all. Into the MacGuffin tier you go.
MacGuffin tier, aka no for gore.
Not just for gore. She's one I don't remember because Grimoire of Souls is not available anymore.
Why do you think I said she for gore?
Kid Dracula! You are adorable. S tier.
Is this also a Grimoire thing?
No, it's a spin-off game. Kid Dracula. That's apparently supposed to be Alucard. Alright. And last but not least, the most important member of the Castlevania crew, Miriam. We're gonna put you at the top of double S.
Okay, I'm gonna need you to explain.
Because she's not from Castlevania, she's from Bloodstained.
Oh, okay.
Tribute. You steal men's souls and make them your slaves.
Oh my goodness.
Yay! Revo, congrats on the sub, and thank you very much for the subs, chat.
Thanks, Gail.
So that brings us up to 92 subs right now.
We can give her more.
Alright, so that's the end of the Castlevania characters tier list. So we're just gonna do a quick save on this. Alright, and now we're gonna move on to the games tier list, which should go a lot faster.
It definitely should.
Wow, I'm looking at this tier list and look at the bottom.
What in the hell?
We have GOAT, Legendary, Excellent, Good, and Judgment.
I love it.
Alright, Kid Dracula is going in Good. It's fun. I played a little bit of it.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Castlevania Chronicles. I would say that is still a good game. It is very much still the original Castlevania, just made to look nicer. Castlevania Judgment goes in Judgment. It's its own category, for crying out loud.
Yep.
Harmony of Despair. This was like, I think, up to a 6-player co-op style giant single castle at a time with RNG loot. This one is not available to play anymore at all. I'm gonna probably put it at mostly because I don't feel that style of game is Castlevania, but I also never actually got a chance to play it. Kid Dracula, I'll put up here in Good. Symphony of the Night.
I think we all know where this one goes.
This is going in Legendary.
Ooh. Not in GOAT?
Not in GOAT. It is going in Legendary.
Ooh, hot take.
Don't get me wrong. It does a lot of stuff really well. It introduced a lot of concepts. But there are other games that improve on the formula.
Okay, alright, now we have a tier list.
Lament of Innocence. A lot of people don't like the 3D Castlevania games. I am not one of them. I'm going to put Lament of Innocence in Excellent. Dawn of Sorrow. I would rank this in Legendary if it wasn't for the fact that the magic seal system is stupid. The fact that you have to pull out your stylus and be ready to draw a symbol on the screen, or have to hold your stylus in your hand and awkwardly try to control your character and fight at the same time while holding a stylus. I'm going to put it at the in the top of Good.
All right.
Also, art downgrade, yes, but I understand that Kojima can only work so fast, and she was working on Curse of Darkness at the same time, so they had to pick which game she was going to focus her art style on. Speaking of Curse of Darkness, I'm going to put you in Good. You're not the greatest, but you're definitely not excellent. You have a lot of gameplay improvements over Lament of Innocence, but Lament's story is what makes a more solid entry to me.
Here.
Castlevania The Adventure. Your controls were awful.
Yeah. This was the first one with Christopher, right?
That's correct.
Oh yeah, that was bad. That was a rough one to go through.
Alright. Aria of Sorrow. GOAT.
Ooh.
A lot of people are going to fight me on this. A lot of people will agree with me. But Aria of Sorrow is probably one of the best Castlevania games ever made.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh?
Violet joined.
I'm here to fight.
Alright. What are we fighting about?
I'm gonna hide. I'm scared.
No, don't be silly.
You sure?
Yeah, it's safe. I promise.
Fight. Kiss.
It's safe. I promise.
Alright, but seriously, what's your hot take, Violet?
I'm just here to defend Symphony.
Hey, I'm not saying Symphony's a bad game. I put it in Legendary.
I don't think there's a better Castlevania title.
I'm sorry, you're wrong?
I
You're
know.
allowed to be wrong.
I understand.
But you're still wrong.
As the complete package, I think it's untouchable. Some of the GBA and DS titles improve on some aspects, but there's no full package that approaches Symphony.
I can guarantee you there's at least one game on here that does it better.
All right. I'm excited to find out what that is.
All right. Next up, Simon's Quest. With a guide or being able to actually understand what's being requested of you, I'm putting it in good.
Generous.
Yeah.
Is really big. That is being very generous to Simon's Quest.
No, because it was still a solid and good game. The only thing that made it confusing, in all seriousness, the only thing that made it confusing is the bad localization.
That is true. That is very, very true. It messes up so much of like just overall navigation in the game. It's basically the Zelda 2 problem.
Hence my asterisk on there of as long as you either have a guide or you have a proper translation.
Trying to play that game as a small child, it was impossible.
Thank you, Nintendo Power.
Okay, next is Castlevania The Adventure Rebirth. They fixed a lot of stuff over the adventure, so I would put it in good. Not quite excellent, because it's still the adventure, but I would still say it's good.
They improved upon it to make it less frustrating.
Yep. Curse of the Moon, or sorry, Circle of the Moon. I'm gonna put this above Dawn of Sorrow. It is a fantastic title, but it is also incredibly hindered by the fact that it was their first experience on the GBA.
Yeah.
Dracula's Curse. I'm putting this at excellent, because it is a fantastic NES title. Probably the best, one of the best of the classic Vanias.
This was 3, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Castlevania Lords of Shadows 2. I haven't played this one myself. I hear it's pretty awful, but because I haven't played it myself, I can't put it in the judgment tier, so I'm putting it in eh.
Understandable.
Feels reasonable to me.
Lords of Shadow 1.
Hydration.
It's not... Oh, thank you.
I'll hydrate with wine.
Ooh, wine.
My water bottle is missing.
What about your wine
After I've done
bottle?
this tier list, I'm going to need a second to go get a drink.
Stars.
Alright, so Lords of Shadow 1, I would say it's still a decent game. And it's got some good Castlevania lore and story. Because they tried to basically reboot the entire franchise with it. So, I'll put it above Kid Dracula, but below Curse of Darkness. Alright, now Violet, I did say there was one on here that would top it.
Oh boy.
Dracula X Chronicles.
Oh, wow. This is not the one that I thought was going to
But
be.
why?
1, you get a remake of Rondo. 2, you get the original Rondo. 3, you get an upgraded version of Symphony of the Night. You wanted a complete package. There you go.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think re-release type games should count as, I don't know, like that scrambles my brain.
I'm kind of with Violent on this one, and it still kind of technically puts Symphony of the Night in a GOAT.
It's an upgraded version, though. I believe it also includes Maria.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Anything with Maria is better. Speaking
Okay,
of which,
okay,
we'll put it in Legendary. Dracula X Chronicles, Rondo of Blood.
I think that game is massively overrated.
Having just finished it, I disagree.
I think Super Castlevania 4 is the superior title.
Fair. That is definitely a choice.
I do have that opinion as well. But
And I didn't think that for a long time. It took replaying both of those games quite a few times
Super
for me to
Castlevania
put 4
is
over
still-
Rondo. So I get where you're coming from.
Super Castlevania 4, I would still say is Legendary, though.
Mm-hmm.
I just think Rondo is better.
so you put 4 on the same
fair.
I put 4 on the same platform as Symphony personally.
You're not disputing my list at all here.
No, I'm not. I'm just offering my own. I'm just offering my 2 cents on my
No,
viewpoint.
but you say
Don't
I
worry.
put it on the same tier as Symphony, and I look over at my tier list.
No, I'm okay. Strike that. Reverse it. Let me reiterate. I put it as on the same pedestal as Symphony as like being 2 of like the key points of like different eras of Castlevania. I think 4 is probably one of the better examples of like the classic Castlevania style before it became Metroidvania.
Alright, fair. I'm gonna jump around on this list at the bottom here for a second.
Do it.
Belmont's Revenge. I wouldn't say it's an excellent title, but it's definitely very good. So I would say above Curse of Darkness, honestly. Because it's a classic Vania, but it's also was pretty fun for a portable classic Vania.
Yeah, I can see that.
Legends, I'm sorry, you're going at the bottom of good. You're not bad enough to fall into but you're a lot of the enemy placement in that game is garbo.
Yeah. That's not a game I would replay.
Re-triggering Nell's PTSD.
Okay, the Japanese version of Dracula's Curse, I have to put it in the same tier, but above the NES version, simply because Grant isn't nerfed, and you actually don't take as much damage.
They basically Devil May Cry 3 to Dracula's Curse. Anybody who gets that reference, you get a thumbs up from me.
Yeah. The original Castlevania. I
would
need to put it in Legendary. It
Yeah.
is an absolute solid
Yeah.
title.
And it basically is it's the granddaddy of horror video games.
Mm-hmm. Lords of Shadow, Mirrors of Fate. I tried. I tried so hard to play in like this game. Because I was like, oh, sweet. It's a classic style Castlevania game. And I played it and I got so bored. You know what? I'm gonna put you here. I got so bored.
but not bad enough to go into Judgment.
No, I got bored. Judgment made me angry.
Fair enough.
Castlevania 64, tier. It was a pretty bad game. It needed a lot more polish.
To be fair, several 64 games needed more polish.
Yeah. Which is what Castlevania Legacy of Darkness is.
Yeah, exactly.
So it has more polish, so we're going to put you above Belmont's Revenge. Rondo of Blood. Or not Rondo, sorry. Dracula X. Just straight Dracula X. I'm sorry. The music is more awful. Maria's not a playable character. There's no alternate paths in the levels.
It's still a better game than Circle of the Moon.
Oh, that's a controversial take.
Ooh.
I'll put it in good, but I would not say
You could take half of Rondo and have a better game than Circle of the Moon, in my opinion. And that's basically what that game is.
Alright. Castlevania Bloodlines. Aside from the parts being nauseating to me from the motion sickness, I would still say it's a good game.
Just make sure to hold the barf bag while you're potentially playing it if you get motion sick.
Alright. This one's going to be a mixed bag of an answer. I'm putting Harmony of Dissonance in A.
I mean, the game is essentially them scrambling to fix all the issues with Circle.
Yup, and including making everything so much brighter that it hurts my eyes, and the sound awful to the point where it hurts my ears.
Am blind and deaf. Now, if only the game can figure out a way to make it so we don't talk, we will be all three of the monkeys.
Alright, we have 2 Castlevania games left. Portrait of the Rune is GOAT tier.
Easy.
Easy GOAT tier.
Easy best portable Castlevania.
I wouldn't say best portable Castlevania, but it's definitely up there for sure.
I see what's left on the list, so...
But Portrait of Ruin was a fantastically done title. It took the anime art style that Donosaur brought, but made it work.
Yeah, they leaned into it, and it didn't feel like it was hurting for not having Kojima's artwork.
They made the anime art style work for the setting and the characters without making it seem like it was a jarring change. But because of that, they realized that the art style did better when it was the more gothic style, so that's why they went back with the style with Order of Ecclesia, even though the Order of Ecclesia is not Kojima style. But, speaking of Order of Ecclesia, that is also a GOAT tier. And I'll put that above Dracula X Chronicles. But below Aria. I still think Aria is probably the single best Castlevania game. So, Violet, Ryu, you know what? You have a couple more minutes. Why don't you tear me a new one for this list?
I feel like the only one that we could definitively tear into you is what every single Castlevania fan is probably screaming at is why is Symphony of the Night not in GOAT tier, but you pretty much made your explanation, so.
One of the best castle maps, probably the best music of any title, amazing presentation and art style, flawless gameplay, classic iffy localized voice acting, like
okay, you know what?
Essentially,
essentially
a flawless title.
The voice acting, yeah, you sold me there. So.
Yes!
Alright, I'll move you up. But Rondo is still
Okay.
staying in Legendary.
Fair.
We can accept that. We can accept that.
I personally did not like Order of Ecclesia. I think that game is somewhere in the middle of the good tier.
Fair?
is such an awkward mishmash of trying to be a Metroidvania and trying to be an homage to the classic titles. The gameplay just never really sucked me in.
Fair.
That and the plot feels completely irrelevant. I love the artwork. I love the character designs. But yeah, that one really fell flat for me.
And I think the only one that I can really say for myself personally out of the ones on the list that I played is that, again, like I mentioned before, like in terms of like the classic Castlevania style, like before Metroidvania, I know it's technically just a retelling of Castlevania 1, but Super 4 is, I don't know, it just feels like the best that they could have done with like the classic Castlevania style. I mean, I don't know, it's just something about it that just feels a lot better than some of the other ones, for me personally.
Okay, so we're gonna download. All right.
Nice.
And I'm gonna stop the recording here. Thank you everyone on YouTube for watching this double tier list header.